Okay, welcome back to the second half of this worksheet. I'm going to change to red, like it's Christmas in March or something like that. We're in the key of E, going 164. This is a funny chord right here because it has two two tendency tones in it. Obviously, the D sharp right there is a tendency tone because it's T. And then the fifth of a diminished chord, which is going to be the A, right, is also a tendency tone, fifth of a diminished chord. So we got to be careful here that we don't double the A and that we don't double the D sharp as well. In some ways, if you know that, setting this up ahead of time might be a nice idea so you've got that or at least sketched it, where we want it. But I say, let's just try it and see what kind of problems we make for ourselves. I'm in a E chord right here, and it definitely feels like, I could put the E there, I could put the G there. I could double the B or I can go up higher like this. As much as it's cruel to the tenors, let's just start with the E right there and the G right there. So from a range point of view, it's a little challenging to sing for the tenors, but from here on out, these guys are gonna come up and then go down. And so we have room and over here, and this is going up. And so we have lots of room here as well. I also, yeah, okay. So we could also put the E right there for a doubled E. That would be fine. But then we have, an acknowledged, unison we have to deal with. I think this is fine either way. If you did this right there or there or there, any of those configurations can work. I'm not sure it's going to make a difference. It might here. I'm on my 4 chord, right, which is going to be an A chord. I've got my A and my C sharp. I'm going to need another E. And then, I don't know, I'm free at that point. So I think you have to watch out here, this G going up to there like that. That's going to be parallel octaves there, right? If you skip from the E up to there, it's just harder to sing. So first off, I'm just going to leave myself on the E right there because smooth is good. And I'm just going to bring these guys down to the E because unison is fine too. I have double G's right here. And so now I'm not going parallel, so there's no problem there. My root is an E, and there's my B right there, root and fifth. But because the tenors are not moving, they can't have any problems with that, okay? Now we get to here, and we got to remember we can't double the A and we can't double the D sharp. We can double the F sharp though, right? And we really only need a D sharp and an F sharp, right? So lots of things we could do here, but I think we're going to do this. Okay, it's a little bit of an extreme jump here, right? If we wanted to smooth this, we could go back and change it to this note right there, right? So we're just coming down by skips like that because the E can jump down to the C sharp, right? And that's fine. So either one of these are fine. And if you don't like the way it sounds or it feels hard for them to jump down a fifth, you could go to the C sharp. Now we're doubling the third, but it's not a tendency tone on the key. So that's fine. So those are both choices that are fine. But we're here now, and we're going to our 1 chord D sharp resolves up. This is E, G, B. So I think, G sharp is fine. And let's just check and see if this can work. This is my fifth of diminished chord, right? It likes to go down to the G by nature in minor, but in major, it's not quite so critical, I think. D sharp, T to do, right? This is your re is going up, re is going down. We have an E, a G, and I think this might be okay. We'll check it out. A is not doubled with anything and doesn't make a fifth with anything, right? Because the D sharp is above. I think that might be okay. Okay. All right. Be interesting to see what the textbook says. Probably set it up differently. G minor. So 2 diminished, right, is going to be A, C, and then E flat. And you can't double the E flat because it's the fifth of the diminished chord. Here, we don't want to double the F sharp because that's T. Everything else is fair game. Okay. So, hmm, um, so A, C, we can use one E flat. We could use another C. We actually like to double the thirds of diminished chords. We can talk about why that is a little later. So that looks okay. Spacing looks good. I've got all the notes represented, and I've doubled the C rather than the E flat, right? Okay, we're coming to our 5 chord right here, which is a D, F sharp, A, right? I think we can just do this. So even though this is not a root position chord going to another root position chord, if this was like 4 to 5 instead of 2, 6 to 5, you'd still bring everything opposite that at the bass step. We can look at that, and that's going to avoid a lot of problems or parallelisms. Here's my double note right there. It becomes a fifth root, like octave becomes fifth. That's fine. There's no other perfect fifth or perfect octave to worry about, so I think we're all okay right there. Okay, going to my 6th chord now, I have to think about the fact that T has to go up. Usually everything comes down opposite, right? So, right now, E flat, G, B flat, right? So probably a B flat right there. Remember, when you're going step up, everything likes to move opposite that. We just got to make sure we have enough parts here. We got E, G, B flat, and a G. It seems fine to me. This is the T going up, which gives us doubled third, which is the key rather than doubled root. Seems fine. We're going to our 1/6 after our 6th chord, which is not normally good for progression, but when you invert chords to a first inversion, they get along better, and you can do a few more wackier progressions than you might normally not be allowed to do if they're in root position. So, we're looking for a G, B flat, and D, and there's that. Now, the problem with holding this over on B flat is that we end up with a larger than an octave right there, right? So that's something to think about. So I think we have to go to there like that just to get our within an octave. We end up with G, B flat, D, and D, right? But that's okay because none of these are tendency tones. We should just double check to make sure we haven't made any voicing errors from here to there. Again, we followed the formula here, so we can't get problems there. But from here to here, E flat to B flat is my root and fifth right there. And so that jumps up and that jumps down and makes a 10th or a third. So that's fine. My G's are doubled note right here, but this G holds over, and since it's not moving, you can't have any problems with it. So again, I think we're good. Okay. I got an F chord here. This is my C chord. I don't want to double the E because that's my T or tendency tone. Other than that, I think I'm good. Not very much space here, which usually just means a closed voicing where all the notes are packed up against each other. F, A, C, F right there. Going to 6, this looks like a job for super common tone, right? Root position, third apart, which is the 2 common tones hold over right there and there. And then the last one moves by step to fill out the chord, right? In this case, we want to go up to the D, 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 F, A. Super common tone, makes it super easy for us. Okay, 2/6 is my G minor chord. I have to look out for parallel octaves and some kind of parallel fifths or something right there. Okay, so I need a G and I need a B flat, which I have, which means I could use a D and I could use another G right there. So this fifth right here becomes a 6th. That's not a problem. This octave right here cannot be another octave because the D held over. Smoother is better. Helps us get out of so many problems or potential problems. All right, here's my G and my G. I got to be careful that they don't end up on an E flat or an E together, but we don't want to double that note anyways. And then G and D is a 5th. This G going down to the D is not a 5th because it's inverted, okay? Otherwise, I think we're pretty good. Now, if this was a 4 chord going up like this, we'd bring everything down in the opposite direction and we'd be good to go, right? The problem with that is that this will hold over and come down like that and then become like parallel octaves there. However, since it's not a 4 chord, we don't have to follow this exactly, but this comes down or holds over to the G. Now I've got oblique motion, so there's no problem there. And then this guy here, I guess it could go up if you wanted to, but I think if we just come down in opposite direction there, that's pretty standard. Okay. All right. Last line. I recognize how much work this is, so I hope you struggle through it and it strengthened your ability to do these things. Let's get this last one done here. This is a G chord, which means that we can't double that, or sorry, key of G, 5 chord, we can't double this F sharp. Not that there's a place to, but we're not going to put the tenors right there like that. 2-6 is also my A minor chord, A, C, E flat. We don't want to double the E flat because it's the fifth of a diminished chord. This means it's in first inversion. This means it's the same chord, but in root position. They've just swapped voices. We're going to do the classic thing where we put our other voices in the middle and just hold them over and do nothing, right? So I'm just going to go like this right there. 2 roots, a third and a fifth. These guys on the outer voices, the voice exchange, these guys are just going to stay there and do nothing. Even though it's not tenor and soprano, kind of like we started here, it still has all the pieces of being voice exchange, right? So the other ones hold out steady. My 6 chord here is coming off of a 5 chord. And so this is T going to Do. It has to do that. All the other notes should follow the formula, which is going opposite the bass, assuming that we have root, root, third, and fifth, and we do. So that's going to come down to there, and that's going to come down to there. Opposite the bass step, right? T goes to Do, that's the exception. Now that I'm here on 6 going to a 2-6, I don't want to double my E flat. I don't even have an E flat currently. So I should make one, I don't have to, but it might be a good idea. So there's lots of choices here. We could skip this up to the E flat. If we skip this down to the E flat, we have a danger of more than an octave coming up here, depending on what we do with that. It should all be singable. I think this is fine though. Be so me le da 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 da. That's fine, right? And this would be re re do re. It's probably the other one. Do re will make us be parallels. That's no good. I think we're just going to do this. Skip to there. Skip to there. It looks okay to me, but we'll double check, right? So here are my G's right there. This one goes up a step, that one goes up there and becomes a 6. So we're fine there, right? We only have the one double note or one tendency tone right there. Here's my root and my fifth right here, right? The E and the B flat, E and the B flat. That skips up to the E flat, that goes down to the 6th. This is a 10th or a third. So no problems there. I think that's fine. Be curious to see what the textbook did there. Might have set things up a little differently to start with. B minor. This is my C sharp diminished chord. We do not want to double the G. This is my F sharp major chord. We do not want to double the A sharp because it's T. And then remember that these are going to move opposite with T going up to Do. Okay. All right. I want to just show you the idea of setting things up so that you can go backwards here. Here's my F sharp. There's my C sharp, F sharp, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp. Everything moves opposite the bass to, it looks like 6. So this is going to be a G, B flat, and D, right? Like that. Except T had to go to Do because this is the deceptive version of that where T goes to Do, but everything else comes down. All right. So we can build backwards into this. It's kind of a funny way to think about it because you're not hearing the sounds in your head, but this is my C sharp chord. I've got my C sharp and my E, and I need a G, and then I'm pretty good after that. I think I'm just gonna put my C sharp right there. Smooth is good. C sharp, E, and then G right there, like that. Seems okay, right? And then as we do our movement here, C sharp holds over and that one moves, so that's not a problem. C sharp and G sharp right there. First off, G, not G sharp, so it's a diminished fifth. And this is oblique and that one moves down, so we're fine. Okay. It's also not unequal fifths because this is inside voices, right? And so that's also a reason why it doesn't matter. And then what does my original setup here look like? Well, I've got a B and a D and an F sharp is appropriate. And, like I could Now, I want you to be careful here. If you put your F sharp there and you put your B there, then you're going to get perfect fifth into a diminished fifth. That's actually okay as well, because this is not a perfect fifth. But you got to watch out for, if this was in a major key, then that would be parallel fifths, right? So you might consider that. The other thing we could do is we could start with a D right there, right, as well, like that, and then like that. Okay. So D sharp, it's not a tendency tone, goes down to C, F sharp goes up to G. There's no root and fifth to deal with because the root is above the fifth right there. So, right. And our doubled notes are the D and the D right there, which collapse inwards. So I think we're good. All right, last one. Congratulations. So much work, and hopefully you're getting this under your belt now. You can see some of the things I'm always checking for. I'm in the key of A. This is my E chord. I do not want to double the G sharp here or here. Other than that, I think I'm in pretty good shape. So E, G, it looks like good spacing is just like that. E, E, G sharp, and B right there. Now I'm going to my one chord, but it's in first inversion. So I have an A and I have a C sharp. It just makes me want to put that right there and do nothing. And then, I think I'm just going to go right there. It's my other root, right? Here's my fifth. It becomes a sixth. That's not a problem. Here's my doubled note. Because this is oblique motion with this not moving, that's good right there. Okay. Moving onward. Again, if this was a 3 to a 4, these would all be moving opposite. Might not have the same problems because this is a 1 chord instead of a 3 chord, so you won't have the parallel fifth issues you might normally have. This is a D chord right here. I think this is going to move down to the D right there. Opposite motion, double root, and then this guy can just hold over like that, right? My double note was A. This one moved and that one didn't move, so it's oblique motion, right? There is no root. Oh, there's a root and fifth right here as well, A and E. But you see how, again, oblique motion, this one doesn't move, and that one steps down. You can't get parallels if one of them isn't moving. Okay. And then 4 to 5. Well, we have a D, A, D, F sharp. It's a root position 4 going to a root position 5. And all the parts and pieces are there. This is going to step up according to the formula. These are all going to come down. And so I'm going to go to my B right there and my G sharp right there. I'm done because I used the formula. Congratulations. All right. Where are we trying to get you here? Well, the idea is that you can do these without getting a nosebleed, and you can do them accurately. So we've gone through lots and lots of practice and definitions and other kinds of things. And now we're at free writing now, and you should be trying to find parallel fifths and parallel octaves and tendency tones, and make sure your spacing and your spelling is correct, and you've got a root in the third and all that kind of stuff, right? And once you've got that, and that feels pretty comfortable, you've got a good core basis for all the part writing you might want to do. And you might be saying like, well, this isn't writing the music that I want. Well, this is just a sketch, right? If you had, 4 measures on a 1 chord and 2 chord and then 5 chord and something like that, these are sort of the locations of things. And you can say, when I get to the end, I need to be here to move on to the next one. And so, we can add also non-chord tones to the texture. Think of this as either just a choral style or sketching out the basic voice leading so you know how the notes are supposed to go over time. All right, that's it.